Breaking news tonight for all Manchester United fans in the situation surrounding current manager Erik ten Hag, and that's coming from an interview that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the co-owner of the football club, has had with BBC Sport, saying that it is not his decision when it comes to hiring, firing and everything else in between, especially around the manager situation. It is down to the management group at Manchester United. That completely contradicts a lot of reports that have come from The Athletic in recent days, and also throws more up in the air. We have another story backing that up from the Barada and Dan Ashworth side I'm going to get into right now. First of all, before we start the video and the live show, please make sure that you have liked the video, make sure that you are subscribed, locked in with your notifications and bell on there as well to make sure you miss out on no content going forward. And of course, make sure you share the video and get involved in the debate tonight, Friday night. The weekend is here. It feels a bit somber. It just doesn't feel like we are upbeat or we are thinking ahead to this Aston Villa game for the reasons we should, which are football reasons. We should be looking forward to it and looking forward to another Premier League game before we break for another 2 weeks for the international break. But all the headlines are just surrounding Erik ten Hag, as you'd expect. Manchester United on their poorest start ever to a Premier League season. Sky are spinning this one as Erik ten Hag can only win against Aston Villa to not be Manchester United's worst ever start. Look, whichever way you want to look at it, 6 games in right now, it is United's worst start to a Premier League season. It doesn't matter what happens at Aston Villa, but for the 7 game sake, yeah, that would be as well if we lost that game to Aston Villa. Like, we have said it all along. We've covered absolutely everything. Let's get into what's actually been said, though, because everyone's expecting news and an update, especially after the game on Sunday. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe, apparently, according to The Athletic, and we reported this yesterday, he is the one that is going to have the final say. Well, not the case. Not the case, apparently. So what The Athletic said is false and isn't what is going to happen with Erik ten Hag, and is not how this is all going to go down. Let's get into the interview and take an extract from what was actually said and what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said talking to BBC Sport. He says on Erik ten Hag's future, I don't want to answer that question. I like Erik. I think he's a very good manager. But at the end of the day, it's not me who decides. It's the management team at Manchester United who have to decide how best to manage the team. That probably includes the manager, I'm guessing, from what Jim said there. But the team that runs Manchester United has only been together since June or July. They weren't there. They weren't here in January, February, March, or April. Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, they only came in July. They've only been here a few weeks. They have been here. They haven't been here long, so they have to take stock and make sensible decisions. I think we all know what the sensible decision would be. Our goal is very clear. We want to bring Manchester United back to where it should be. And that's not the case yet. Obviously, that's very clear. So he's made it very clear that he's nowhere near where he wants to be. If you add to this certain things that have been said over the last week, like Omar Barada saying that Manchester United are going to win the league in 2028, you can clearly see who the main players are when it comes to the shakedown of staff and people, of directors in certain positions at Manchester United. It is obviously Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth. Wilcox will have his say as well. I'm guessing there is some part of it where Jean-Claude Blanc and Sir David Brailsford come in, but The Athletic reported yesterday that Manchester United will not make a decision, and ultimately it will come down to Sir David Brailsford and Sir Jim Ratcliffe themselves when saying if Erik ten Hag is going to still have a job or not. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the co-owner, the man at the top, the man that has all of the say and has got the final say, I'm guessing because it's his bleeding money, has said that's not the case. The Athletic have also said that if you ask the people that know and the people in and around the structure and who is running Manchester United right now, they are not going to jump in to any decision unless ten Hag is completely humiliated at Aston Villa this weekend. So they've said, and I think everybody's going along the lines, forget about what happened last night and conceding them 3 goals and losing another lead and looking completely disastrous in terms of organisation. Forget about that. That doesn't matter. It's another game that they want you to forget about. It's only the 10th game this season, and obviously we've only got 3 wins. So yeah, don't worry about that. We're still okay. You see where I'm going. Like, it's kind of worrying that these conversations are actually happening right now at Manchester United. Into more information on this though, because this was then backed up later on by reports coming out from the Muppeteers, which said new Justin, Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth, in capitals, like it is in the bottom of your screen right now going across, don't want to sack Erik ten Hag as of right now. Not that they don't think he's the right manager, but they rather not make a decision so quickly. That's from the Muppeteers, and is very, very worrying. The pressure builds up from above. Omar and Dan will be forced to do something about it. If the pressure builds up from above, Omar and Dan will be forced to do something about it. So I think it's been made abundantly clear right now who is going to have the say on this. The worrying thing is this friends, offices facing each other, all pally, this new recruitment team, this new directors team at Manchester United, and the whole operation that Ten Hag completely goes on about all the time. He is doing a job and a half here, and I don't think people are looking at it. Like, he keeps referencing everybody above him at Manchester United and telling them in every single press conference, in every single answer that he comes out with, that we're all on the same page, we're all in that same boat, we've all got the same direction, and they know that this is going to take time. He is forcing it into their heads as to what has to happen, I feel, and he's just positioning himself in the right spot. He really is up against it. They know it, and he's pushing on them because obviously he knows that they haven't got anyone else available. That's how I see it anyway. He knows that there's no one else there, and he's just using every single little bit and playing everything to his advantage that he possibly can to keep himself in a job. Look, he's backing himself and he wants to stay. He's going to do everything he possibly can to stay in a job. So he's just playing all of his cards that he's got available to him, and the pressure is going to mount. The pressure is going to really mount, not just from the fans, but Sir Jim Ratcliffe has employed Omar Barada. He's employed Dan Ashworth, Wilcox, and everyone else in this team to make crucial decisions. You don't come into Manchester United and build a structure just for them to stand by and say, oh, we'll give it a little bit longer just in case. Just in case doesn't cut the mustard. Just in case he's going to get Manchester United. It's not, I was going to say, there was only one thing I could say then. It's going to get Man United relegated. No, it's not. We're nowhere near. We will never get relegated. Famous last words, of course. It's only going to make things worse for United, I feel. When things are this bad and you have got people at the top that are supposedly there to make these crunch decisions, have the balls to make the big calls as such, and they're not, you start to worry a little bit. The Athletic, from their reporting earlier in the week to what's happened today, I feel like everyone's hedging bets right now. Nobody knows. So what we can say is that the only facts that are out there right now and the only surefire dead certs that are out there in all of this reporting is that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has opened his mouth and has been clear in saying this to the BBC. This is the only gospel dead cert bit of news that you can go off in the report so far, is that he won't be the man sacking Ten Hag. He won't have anything to do with sacking Ten Hag. The only thing I think we can say from it is, from other reports, is that Sir Jim Ratcliffe will maybe ask the question, where are we at? Looking at it from the outside, he won't be the one maybe to tell Ten Hag that he's lost his job. He won't be the one that's going to say you're out of what he's seen. He's going to ask Dan Ashworth, he's going to ask Omar Barada what they think. He's going to ask them, look, are we anywhere near where we thought we were going to be? Are we any closer to actually progressing on the pitch? Are the signings bedding into Manchester United? Well, we can't get Agate into this team. We're struggling to find out whether Mazraoui should be on the right or on the left. The centre-back partnerships of De Ligt and Martinez that we were looking forward to and seeing more of is starting to be unravelled completely and exposed to the highest level in recent games. 6 goals conceded in the last 2 games. And all of this is where Sir Jim Ratcliffe would then step in, I feel. So not necessarily being the man to come out and sit down with Ten Hag face to face and say that's not my... and say he's going to sack him. I think that's what he means for me when he says... it's not my job to do this. I'm not in the position. I won't be the one dealing with this. It's down to the structure and it's down to the football operation at Manchester United to carry out their duties and make the right decisions to help Manchester United on the pitch. So he's ridding himself of any sort of blame or any sort of responsibility for doing it. But really behind the scenes, as an owner and a man that's invested, let's not kid ourselves, a small fortune into Manchester United, he is going to be tapping on that door to Omar Barada, virtually this is, and Dan Ashworth, and saying, where are we at, boys? What's going on? Why is nothing happening yet? Why are we not improving? Is there anything you can do right now to make this better? Is there any big decision you can make that's going to give Manchester United that little turn in form? There's only one. And like what the Muppeteers is saying there, of course, I do feel for him. Like, first few months into a job and you're faced with this situation, you don't want to be there. Let's be honest. When you look at what Dan Ashworth's previous jobs have been and the pressure of them jobs, let's you go back to the FA, certain role there, may not have had to make any major decisions. I'm not too sure, to be honest with that. I'm guessing the pressure was nothing at Brighton compared to what it was at Newcastle, a little bit more. But when you come to Manchester United, and you remember many videos and many conversations that we've had on live shows throughout the summer, and Dan Ashworth and him putting his whole reputation on the line by coming to Manchester United, because United is a different animal altogether. You are going to be put in situations that you really have to act on that you don't feel comfortable in. This is just what this club is. It's like nothing else. Nothing else. The fact, and the worrying thing that I had at the start was like how close Ten Hag and Dan Ashworth were in terms of working together. Like this conversation thing that they have every single day between them, like the offices facing each other. The last thing we need is like this pally-pally friendship thing being built up here. Has Dan Ashworth ever been in a position where he's had to sack someone and make such a massive call in his career is what I'm saying. Omar Barada being at Barcelona and at Manchester City, I mean, if you're working most of the time under Pep Guardiola, it's probably going to be a bit of a cake ride when it comes to performances on the pitch because he gets everything that he wants. So when it comes to tough decisions, and Omar Barada having to make a clinical managerial decision or be part of that, has he done it before? Has he made these big decisions before? We don't know. He might have. I'm not saying he hasn't, but when it comes to Manchester United, it's a completely different ballgame to anything that anyone who has just been employed by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos to work in this new football structure at Manchester United have ever come across. And they're the facts. You have to say that because it is. It is. Omar Barada, you could argue Barcelona, City, big clubs, high expectations, yes. But big clubs with high expectations that are not failing. This is a massive club with massive expectations, which is failing. So are we getting nervousness creeping in to the directors right now? Are we getting a little bit of cold feet, a little bit of a twitchy sort of scenario going on when it comes to making a big decision? I wouldn't be surprised. They're only human. This is a huge call to make. Whether we think it or not as fans that United are playing shit, which they are, and Ten Hag deserves to be sacked, which he does, it doesn't matter. They're the ones that have got the power. And when you've got power, sometimes that does add pressure to your decision making. And I feel like that's where we're at right now. They don't want to be seen to be making a knee-jerk reaction because they have backed him so much already. I get it. I totally get it. But sometimes you'll get a little bit more respect if you have got the balls to make the big call. And I think this is what needs to happen now. And it has to be one of these two that stands up and goes, we both know that this isn't good enough. We both know that there are other options out there. And we need to make this happen. We need to save ourselves. Because I'm telling you now, if Ten Hag stays, we get beat on Sunday. Ten Hag stays, we go through another international break, we come back against Brentford and he's still the manager and things don't go well this season, we'll come back to this moment. We'll come back to the Villa weekend when we broke for the second international break of the season and everybody will look at Ineos and everyone will look at the people that are in situ doing their roles in the director's box and we will all say, did you bottle that? Could you have made that decision and salvaged this season? Because the longer this goes on, the longer we know the uncertainty is going to stay and continue within this team. And Ten Hag has proved, and the way he's been speaking, talking about getting to finals and stick with us, it's a process. It just doesn't work. Like, you cannot ignore the league table. You can't ignore that. And that should be where Ineos are judging everything that's going on the pitch. If they feel like Ten Hag has got something from what they've seen and they want to give him another month, then that's on them. All I'm saying from this point here is if they don't get rid of Ten Hag after the Aston Villa game, then the blame is going to fall on them more than what it will Ten Hag if anything else goes wrong, because the opportunity's there. And that's where a lot of fans will look. A lot of United fans that have spoken to me or have come to me have said, like, I'm actually watching Ineos now. Like, they're the ones that kept Ten Hag, and they're the ones that are overseeing this horrible, worst start in the club's history in the Premier League. That's been made very, very clear. They're in charge of it. Sporting operations. That's Ineos. They're the ones that forked out another 200-odd million for Ten Hag, taking it over to $1 billion spent. And the majority of that team that's played over so far this season has been made up of them signings and them players that Ten Hag has brought through. They are supposed to be looking after the sporting side of things, and all eyes will be on them. Look, if this goes through this weekend, Ten Hag fails again, it's probably going to get to a stage where we're all numb to Ten Hag, and we can't really blame him. Because we know what he's like, we've seen it, and all eyes will focus on Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, David Brailsford, Jean-Claude Blanc, Wilcox, whoever you want to call out, whoever is part of this new structure at Manchester United, it will be on them. It will be on them, and they don't want to turn the fan base against them in the first season. They definitely don't want to turn the fan base against them in the first quarter of the season, and that's why the pressure is on, I feel. And I think this is why there's a little bit of nervousness in the air about making a big call right now amongst the Ineos regime. I really do, and I feel like this is going to go beyond Ten Hag soon if certain things aren't called out. And we like I just said it down. I'm just going to say it one more time. Like, if he gets through this weekend and he isn't sacked, then look, can we really blame Ten Hag at that point? Then the chance is there for Ineos now. We know that Ten Hag has failed at the start of this season. He's just overseen the worst ever Premier League season in Manchester United's history, and he's about to oversee the worst start to a Premier League season in Manchester United's history. And then Ineos want to keep him in hope that he turns it around within this process and this plan that he's got. That's not on Ten Hag. That's on Dan Ashworth. That's on Omar Barada. These are supposed to be the football people in at Manchester United that I was praising and bigging up all summer. It's time to start making some big calls. And we'll see if they're right. We'll see if I'm wrong. If they do keep Ten Hag past this weekend and he turns it around, I've said it before, I'd gladly hold that L, but I know what's coming. I'm just going to keep saying I know what's coming. It's just my opinion alone. I'm not convincing anyone. You've all got your own opinions. I'm coming into the chat now to see where you're all at with them opinions. Keep liking the video, guys. We're creeping up to 150 likes. I want 300 live likes again in this show. Make it happen, everybody. Get involved in the chat. This is now your show. Let's get into it, and let's get into some comments. I'm going to scroll right up here. 24 out of 36 teams goes through in the Europa League. I don't know why you people panic. Last season was a write-off. Now we have a dysfunctional Bruno and Dalot and Shaw. Effed Ten Hag over. He should be sold. I don't know where you're going with that one, mate. Are you backing Ten Hag on that statement there? It looks like it. So last season was okay. And now we shouldn't be panicking about this season's Europa League. Yeah, let's not look at the fixture pile-up that's already there and add 2 more games to it, because it's all right to finish in the top 24 of probably the worst lineup of teams in the Europa League's history, with no Champions League teams dropping down into it either, making it easier for Manchester United to win. But don't panic. You're only 21st in that league, but we don't look at that because there's still 24 teams that can go through. That's how I take that one. If United play Eriksen and Casemiro in midfield against Villa, they will get destroyed. Yeah, I think energy-wise, strength-wise, Villa, look, the thing is, I know that Villa are a better side than Manchester United, and I probably won't be going in on United as much as what I was against Porto last night, unless we get absolutely smashed to pieces. I expect United to lose because Villa are a better side. They're more organised, they've got better players, and they've got a better manager. Look, law of averages tells you that United will lose the game tomorrow against Aston Villa. I expect them to lose on Sunday, I expect them to lose. I've given up all hope that this whole United factor is now there and I can go into any game and United can do anything. I expect United to lose. It'd be great if they won, because then it would prove me wrong and actually show me that they have got something inside their mentality, inside themselves, and that they can actually get over this adversity. But I don't believe it. I don't believe they will. That's just how I'm feeling after what I've watched so far from the back end of last season going into this season. We are a laughingstock right now, and I don't like it. Gareth says Barcelona is massive, a little more than big up. It's not failing. Barcelona is massive, a little more than big up, but it's not failing. I'm not sure what's that about. It might be a conversation going on. Try for the Europa games. It was easy to pick up seats. Bab's saying it's easy to find seats at Old Trafford for them ones. I'm not surprised. People are really not bothered. What's that? Dear oh dear, Adam, a running commentary on board decisions will only give you ulcers. There's nothing dear oh dear about it, Graham. We're just talking about the actual conversation that Sir Jim Ratcliffe had with the BBC, proving that the Athletic was wrong, proving that he hasn't got a say, and he's the one who's going to be putting pressure on Ineos, on Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth. I don't know what you're on about there, Graham, mate, personally. I know you're trying to spin it around in a different direction a little bit, but it isn't there. The conversation is going to move from Ten Hag to Ineos if nothing happens this weekend. Simple facts, mate. Come on. Go and grab yourself a black coffee, buddy. Let's see. Christopher says, if this is true, then they expect to not get top four. Well, maybe there is some element in that other conversation that came about earlier on in the season when Ineos were more interested in progression on the pitch rather than points and position. Look, I just found it strange that Manchester United were expecting to go for the league title in 4 years but weren't bothered about progressing up the table. It didn't make sense to me. Progression is everything. Progression on the pitch should automatically bring points to the board and moving up the table. Points make prizes. Helps you build a better team because you earn more money. You play in better competitions, therefore helping the players perform better. It goes without saying. Yes, progression on the pitch is good, but points are what Manchester United need. We need to be in the top four. Fergie did a job of several people. Now we have numerous total nobodies running the strategy. They're not nobodies. They are the right people. And football clubs and the way that football is run these days, from top to bottom, is completely different. So I'm happy that we've got the people in that we have. I think they are the right people as well. So I really haven't got a problem with that. It's just the pressure will come onto them like they have not witnessed before. And that's why I was talking about Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, both being in a job that they've never encountered the pressures of before. Like, this is what Manchester United are. If we finish outside of Europe, would be catastrophic too. Yes, it would. Boxing says, nah, not having it. You're a Liverpool, surely. It's talking to someone else in the chat. Let's see what else we've got. Other comments coming in. Cooking with Eric Ten Hag. Just pop it in the processor for 3 minutes. Gary says, that's the perk of funding it. They get to decide. An inconvenient truth, but a truth nonetheless. How I wish it was full. It was a full sale. This doesn't really feel like a clean slate. Well, results are bad. I keep saying it. Everything that Ineos do counts for nothing if United are shit on the pitch. We've said it all along. We said it through the summer when it looked like we was having a really progressive transfer window, which we did. But they backed the wrong manager. They backed the wrong manager. And now they have to deal with the consequences of that. And if they back him again now, after this weekend, then really no one's going to be looking at Ten Hag. Everyone's going to be looking at that director's box. They're going to be looking at them and going, you're the ones who should be making a decision. You're the ones that should be calling the shots right now. You have to take this out of certain people's hands. If we're going to call out Ten Hag for not making big decisions with the team, we have to call out Ineos for not making big decisions with the management as well. Because if the manager's not doing his job, then the Ineos and the directors there need to deal with their situation and make the decision there. It goes up from top to bottom. The players don't deal with their job, the manager deals with them. If the manager can't deal with that, then the directors have to deal with the manager. You need someone who is brave enough to manage these players at Manchester United. I don't think Ten Hag is the man. But I'm not going to blame Ten Hag after this point. After this weekend, I'm not going to be able to. Yeah, I'll get wound up with how United are playing. I'll get wound up with how Ten Hag is talking. But I'm going to be looking over at Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada. And that's where the line of questions is going to be going to. They have created a mess. Who goes to the shop and says, I'll buy 25% of your business and then be in charge? They'll tell you to bugger off, but this worked getting United. Well, I think they've got power, and I think there is more to the deal that we don't know about personally. But look, I think it will all come out in good time. Eric Ten Hag has made us a laughingstock. He's going to get us relegated. If Jim and Ineos haven't got the balls to sack him, they need to sling their hook along with the Glazers. The Glazers ain't going nowhere. Les says, be careful what you wish for. If we get Southgate, we are finished. The only way to get us on track is to get rid of the player FC that run the show in the dressing room. 5 managers already. Again, Les, it's not there. What are you on about? Like, the player FC in the dressing room. He's just subbed one of them off when he was playing well, and it cost him against Porto last night. He brought one of them players on that you're talking about in Harry Maguire, and he saved his job. It doesn't exist. Player Power FC doesn't exist. Rashford's running around for him. Maguire's coming on and saving his job. Yeah, you could argue Luke Shaw and Bruno Fernandes, headless chickens right now, but still, like 75%, 80% of the teams that Ten Hag puts out, he has been at the club longer than them players. He's the one who brought them through. So where's the player FC? It's not there. It's a myth. It doesn't exist. Sir Jim Ratcliffe bottled the decision he should have made in the summer, and that was sack Ten Hag. It's time for Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos grow a set and sack him ASAP. Christopher says, Adam, the thing is, Tuchel was the Man United wanted, and he turned United down. So they had to stick with Ten Hag, and I've been Ten Hag out from the day the day he signed. Oh God, the day he signed. Brutal from Christopher there. He's right. I asked myself, what is Ineos waiting for? Sack Eric Ten Hag. It is necessary for Manchester United to be in the relegation zone so that they can wake up, react and make a decision, says Emmanuel, Director of Football. I've not even got into the first line of this, but I can tell where this is going to go. My first move, a new regime wouldn't want to start their tenure with us going against the majority of the existing fan base. Kindly direct your anger at your favourite YouTubers and the majority inners. Yeah, who are all backing out of their previous decisions from the summer right now, I might add. But hey, no one's taking any credit for this. Look, I don't care if Ten Hag gets sacked and everything goes right. I'm not going to be there saying, I told you so. I just knew it. Like, all I want to do is see Manchester United playing good football. I want to be able to enjoy the football that United play. And that's it. With that, United will progress. United should be back challenging at the top. So, yeah. Graham, and trying to throw me under the bus again. Yeah, I also used to love my ex-wife, mate. Times change. Come on, son. You've got to do better than that. It's Friday night. You ain't getting me with that one, son. Let's go. Paul says, I totally disagree. This is on the player power thing. They could be his players. Why does everyone have this impression that because you bring them in, they're your mate? How the F do people come up with that impression? Well, you, Les, just came up with Player Power FC and didn't name the players. So I'm guessing, going back 5 years, you're talking Rashford, you're talking Maguire. And if I'm right, they're 2 players that stood up for Ten Hag last night. Even Maguire coming out and backing him in the mixed zone in the interview. You're going to have to add more context to it, Les. It's not good enough, mate. You need to get in Graham's boat. I never wanted him, Adam. Graham's just saying now, he's backed out of it. He's backed out of it. He knows when I'm on one and he knows when I'm revving up. I'm in form. I'm ready to go. Hit me with anything that you want, people. Come on, we've got to entertain ourselves because, my God, if Ineos do, in fact, back out of this decision to get rid of Ten Hag, then really, like I said before, can we honestly blame Ten Hag for that? No, we can't. He's doing what he thinks is right. And if Ineos keep him in situ, he's going to continue thinking that he's doing right. And he's going to come out and keep on saying that he is the right man for Manchester United. It all works together, doesn't it? It does. Again, Les has come out there. I'm loving Les's passion, I really am. Player FC runs this club. If you can't see that since Sir Alex Ferguson, you must be blind. They've done they've done them all. Who? I'm only asking who, mate. You're going to have to come up with some names. Jake says, I get the Player FC argument, but these are his players. No, you can't deny that. You can't. And people won't see it. Oh, he's blaming Casemiro now. Right, Casemiro, Rashford, maybe even Bruno now. Bruno plays for everyone. The only problem with Bruno is it's his quality on the pitch. He doesn't throw any manager under the bus. That's ridiculous. It only takes a couple of players. So now we've only got a couple of Player FC players. I thought there was more. You said 5 a minute ago, mate. Never mind. According to Adam Crafton, there is a meeting scheduled for Tuesday. It should be Monday. It should be Sunday evening is what it should be. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be an eventful international break no matter what. And I think everyone is going to be looking to see if a decision is actually made. And I feel like the pressure is only on certain people right now. And it's not Ten Hag. It's not like, obviously we know where his pressure is, but that's been there all season. He's got to prove himself. The pressure is moving to upstairs now, and that's where this whole argument has come about and this debate's come out tonight, really. And I feel like they do have to back themselves more than anything. Rather than backing a man, they need to back themselves and have courage in their decision to actually, well, either keep him and come out and tell us why, or get rid of him. We have always had the same problem with players being arrogant. When we lost Sir Alex Ferguson, we lost the ability to keep these knobheads in line. This is just a boost for player brands these days. Look, honestly, now, I'm not against the argument of the player issue. I know it's been there. It has been there. Like Les has said in the chats, like a few others as well, it is there. I know it's there. And the mentality and the culture is definitely there. And it was there more. Not so much now. It has changed. It definitely has changed. And the excuse of the players has gone for me. It's now on Ten Hag and not being able to get the best out of these younger players. You've got Ahmad who's come through there. You've got Garnacho. You've got Rasmus Højlund who's just joined, young players. I mean, Rasmus Højlund last night is putting an Instagram post out, which he's since come out and apologised for, about being excited to being back in the United side and scoring goals. So there's one player that definitely isn't involved in this culture or this player FC culture that's going around Manchester United. He's nowhere near it. Garnacho, no. Kobbie Mainoo, no. Academy players, you can't see that. Ahmad, I would say no. Zirkzee, just come in. Delict and Martinez and Mazraoui, we definitely know. Onana, we definitely know, because they're all Ten Hag players. They've played with him at other clubs as well and understand him, won things with him. There is a massive majority of this team. Look, eventually Bruno will go. Eventually Rashford will go. But I don't think it's going to make any difference if Ten Hag is in place. I don't. I feel like we've got a better chance if Ten Hag isn't the manager and someone else who is better is, than keeping Ten Hag and hoping that he can actually fix this. It's clear that with a different man in charge, Man United will do better. We have always had the same problem. Oh, sorry, I've just read that one out. Jake says, I think he will stay unless we get pumped 4 or 5. Can you imagine we lose 3-0 and that's still not good enough to get rid of him? Imagine it. So it'll go if we get pumped 4 or 5-0, and then I'll be questioning Ineos. We can't still salvage the season, but if we can't still salvage the season. But if we keep him, it's writing another season off. It is. It is. And that's what it would be if Ten Hag stays. And that's a real thing. That is real in what Jake's saying there. It will feel like you're writing the season off. You cannot, as Manchester United, accept being where we are in the league, surely. That's what it all comes down to. It has to. It's not right. It's not right. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. Imagine being Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Real Madrid, all of these massive clubs, and then being 14th in the league and not acting on it and just testing to see. Why do Manchester United, this massive or so-called massive football club, have to be different to everybody else? Success stays at these bigger clubs because they react and they don't accept subpar performances. They go out, they back their manager. If the manager doesn't provide, the manager goes. Someone else is ready to come in. They have a philosophy. I thought Ineos were building this philosophy. Look, this could be all smoke. And we could see the news that we expect, and that is Ten Hag leaving. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But one thing we do know is United are not expected to beat Villa unless we pull off some miraculous victory and everything goes our way on Sunday. If we do, then I fully expect him to, from what I've read and what I've seen, I think it'll just make it easier for Ineos to say, yeah, another couple of weeks. Let's see if we can get through to the next international break. But you only have to look at the teams that we've got coming up. Like, everybody's going to feel comfortable playing Manchester United. Everybody. And the likes of, Newcastle, we've got to play Chelsea, Arsenal, City. We've got to play all them teams yet as well. So, big games coming up for Manchester United. And I feel like with Ten Hag, don't expect much. Without him and a better manager in, whoever that manager is, I don't know. Right now, that's up to Ineos. And I think that's probably part of the disagreement and debate going on behind the scenes right now. But still. Rasmus Højlund did apologise, by the way. I just want to read this out on what Rasmus Højlund said regarding that post. I've seen some anger about my post of yesterday. I never intended that. I was only happy to be back out there on the score sheet again after a tough few weeks where I couldn't play and score. Obviously, we go for the win, and I will give everything to make you guys happy. Sorry, yesterday's post was not the case. Let's move on, getting ready to give everything again on Sunday. So, Rasmus Højlund realised what he has done. The club again, honestly, I just think there should be something handling the social media side of this football club. I don't hear of any, and this may be because I'm so fixated on Manchester United side of things. I don't hear anything like this coming out of any other club at all, and problems that they have like this behind the scenes with players. But it's always there for Manchester United, isn't it? Let's just see what else we've got in here. Let's mix it up. Joshua says, if he stays and it goes bad, where this whole season is Ineos' fault. Director of Football says Erik ten Hag replaced player FC with favouritism FC. He's not helping with his style of management. Does the 17 million cost of sacking a manager affect financial fair play? I think it does. Could be a big point. Ten Hag can't coach two teams with top players. Other coaches in the Premier League are doing more with less. Maguire is miles better than De Ligt. As I said before, we signed him. We start since 1974 under Erik ten Hag. Out. What did Rasmus post? He was talking about scoring a goal and having 6 weeks off to master his celebration. It was sort of like a read the room sort of moment. Like, we don't want to be seeing posts like that after we just had this crap night in Europe again where we got away with it. Les is coming again. By the way, I want Erik ten Hag out as I think he is frightened to sub certain players. That is his downfall. I just don't know what the better solution is. Why do we get, or who do we get, probably you're supposed to say there, someone that is available? Jesus. No, you go out and you make that signing of a manager that you need. This is where Ineos have to step up. I can see Ruud van Nistelrooy coming in as interim. I can see that happening. It has to be for a shorter period of time. It has to be for maybe a few weeks, couple of weeks if he does come in. And I think they need to go out and get the man that they want in the next month. They're going to have to convince someone. Hopefully these talks going on behind the scenes are actually talking of this now. Like, if we do go here and we pull the plug on Eric, who are we going for? That must be going on. That has to be going on right now. Keep liking the video. We wanted 300. We're nearly coming to the end of the show, so please give the video a like. Make sure you have subscribed as well, everybody. Thank you so much for everyone who has over the last week, as we passed 60k this week on the subscriber count. Thank you, everyone. We're already on the road to the next landmark, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, people, and obviously share the video as well. Like it. Let's get them likes up near 300 just as we finish. But yes, that is your Friday evening show. I will be back in the morning with your morning update, so make sure you're tuned in bright and early, getting us kick-started for the weekend. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock sharp, live, everybody, so make sure that you are there. But for tonight, that is it. It's been a very, very, very eventful week. Not a pleasant one. Anyone who is waiting for the United couple, it is going to be out tomorrow. Sorry for the delay. It has just been one of them crazy weeks, and we have just got it recorded, me and Kaz now. So United couple, episode 23. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. The link is in the description. Episode 23 is out tomorrow. A little bit delayed because of, like I said, the mess of this week and everything going on. But that is it for tonight, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, mods and members. Thank you to all the new subscribers as well who have joined. And I will see you all in the morning. Have a fantastic evening, people. Enjoy your Friday night.